Hey everyone, Derek here with even more Switch 2 news because it just does not stop coming, and there's not really a major theme to any of these. It's just here's a roundup because there's just a ton of stuff coming out at all times. So let's go ahead and break it down. And first up is a little bit of news about the boxes for the Switch 2 games, which we're able to see full pics of along with their spines in real life rather than just here's an image of what it looks like as a PNG or whatever. It's actually in person. You can see what they're doing with it, and it looks good. I think the red helps it stand out. It definitely gives it an identity, and I think it looks better in person than it does as an image. I think it just does the job well. But kind of related to this are the Switch 2 editions, which Nintendo has talked extensively about. Now, the sensible thought about a Switch 2 edition is that it would be a Switch 2 game card, and it would have everything on there right away. That is not the case, at least at launch. Maybe it'll change in the future if enough people raise a stink, but as of right now, it is not the case. The Switch 2 edition just contains the Switch 1 game card and a download code for patching the game to a Switch 2 state. So you're essentially paying the money that you would need to pay for the upgrade anyway, but you're still getting a Switch 1 game card, which I guess helps it be backwards compatible if you care about that, but it seems kind of weird that that would be the case. Why would you not just give it a Switch 2 game card and kind of cut out the middleman? Don't have to worry about a download patch or a download code. Just give it to you naturally. That would kind of be the appeal of getting a upgraded version, the next gen version of the game card. It's very odd and I think kind of a boneheaded move. It also makes the box art look hideous because here's a bunch of fine print talking about what it actually contains, and basically the fact that yes, it does contain a Switch 1 card and a download patch. Great, thanks Nintendo. Just put it on a card. What is with these Switch 2 cards between this and the game key cards? That's still a thing for certain games. It's so weird, but there it is. However, tying into this is the fact that we're actually going to be getting a Suikoden Collection native port. Not an upgrade, an actual port, a Switch 2 version that includes all the bells and whistles that you would expect for it being on Switch 2. Better graphics, maybe 4K support, all the things that maybe you saw on the PS5 or Steam versions of the Suikoden Collection. So that's good news. At least some companies are still going native for their ports, so that's nice to see, and Suikoden is a great game. Speaking of other games coming out for the Switch 2 though, we have gotten confirmation that Sonic X Shadow Generations is coming to the Nintendo Switch. No exact release date yet, but it is coming presumably this year, and there's already a trailer for it, so you can see footage of it running on the Switch 2, and it looks solid. It's not that surprising that it runs close to the other modern consoles, so that's just cool to see, and now Nintendo fans can have that upgraded full 60 FPS experience for Sonic X Shadow Generations. Great stuff. Other great stuff, speaking of fast, is that Shinen, the developers of the new Fast Fusion, have revealed that it supports game share, both locally and more importantly, online. So if you pick up Fast Fusion, you can not only share it with your friends locally so they can play on their own Switch, you can actually contact them via online and share it with them that way. So even though they're not next to you or even own the game, you can both play together based off that one purchase. And that's really cool. That is extremely generous on Shinen's part. It's a great way to get the game out there and more people to try to play it, because this is kind of the successor to F-Zero at this point. It just seems we got a new Nintendo console. Hey, here's Shinen with a new fast game, and they've been quality across the board. So there's no reason to think that Fast Fusion won't be the same way. And it's a great way for existing fans to share it with people who might not have tried it out yet and easily get them to play it and maybe even become fans themselves. So this is a great idea. Love to see it. Now, the last bit of news for this roundup is something that is spoiler heavy. So be warned, if you do not want to know a potential story beat for Donkey Kong Bananza, click away now. It's why I saved this for the end. Do not look at this if you want to go into that game as fresh as possible. It is a potentially massive spoiler. So here's your big flashing, oh god, spoilers alert. So definitely be aware of that. Okay, we all set? You good? You're prepared? Okay, here we go. Now, a Bluesky user by the name of Genki Gamer has discovered, or at least gotten word of, some key art on the Korean Nintendo site, and it looks exactly the same as the key art we've seen up to this point of Donkey Kong punching into the ground, gold bursting out, all that great stuff. Except there's one tiny major difference. It features a young Pauline. Instead of the little rock buddy, Oddrock, riding on Donkey Kong's shoulder, it's actually a young Pauline. And what the implications of this are is really up in the air, but I think the biggest takeaway is that Pauline, or this girl, is Oddrock, because if you look at her wrist, she has a bracelet that is colored and oddly shaped like Oddrock. So it is entirely possible that Donkey Kong is joined by Pauline the entire game. Now here's the big question. Is this Pauline, because this is obviously a younger version of her, or is it a new character entirely? Is this Pauline's daughter? It seems more likely that it is Pauline tying into all this, but it's not a prequel or anything like that because there's conversations with Cranky Kong. Cranky Kong references the fact that he used to be rivals with Mario, so it definitely takes place after other Donkey Kong games and when Mario is established and Pauline is established as an adult. So having young Pauline here is interesting in the fact that either she was cursed to be a kid again, or this is her daughter. Now, I've tried to look at any clue I could to determine whether or not this could be her daughter, namely in looking at her eyebrows and her eye color. And the eyebrows are basically the same as hers, a little bit thicker than the typical Pauline, at least based on her model from Super Mario Party Jamboree, but her eye color is essentially the same. So again, it's difficult to say whether this is Pauline or her daughter or something else entirely, but Oddrock seems to be this character and it just has further ties to the wider Mario universe beyond Cranky just referencing Mario. So that's really cool. I'd love to see more connections like this that bring Mario and Donkey Kong's worlds closer together, see how they all kind of fit. I think this is great, but I'm curious what all of you think about that. But again, keep an eye out for people who don't want to have spoilers, so maybe spoiler mark your stuff in the comments if you are going to talk about this. But it is pretty major and I think an awesome addition. More Pauline, always great. Just get her more and more established within the Mario and Donkey Kong universe. Great stuff all around. So yeah, that is the news roundup. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, be sure to subscribe and stay tuned to GVG for much more on the Switch 2. We'll be there with any news that comes out and just try to keep all of you as informed as possible. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye.